Hi, everybody. Are you feeling your fingers and your feet at this point? It's a good time to have a mask on, I guess. Well, I'm Sarah Proctor, and I've lived in Deerfield for 15 years. I'm an independent. I'm not tied to either political party. I'm a veterinarian, and I've worked with people from all walks of life, but mostly they've been white people. I'm not an activist. I have my notes. I'm nervous. But Erin asked me to say some words. I've been thinking about race and how it relates to me for a couple of years, and I guess what I'd like to talk about are two things. The first, and I don't know if I have the whole answer, but the first question is, why are we in our community and in New Hampshire and in my life, why are we so divided on this issue, and how can we come together with the people that are apart from us? I think everybody feels threatened right now for one reason or another, regardless of how you feel about racism. For people of color, that's not new, and for white people, a lot of it may be brand new, and that feeling of threat may make some white people refuse to recognize what we mean when we say Black Lives Matter, and it makes them say instead, no, all lives matter. And I think we need to understand why white people get defensive about this. Most of us here are white. Most of us have no black friends or coworkers. We rarely encounter people of color. If you've never met a black person, no less befriended one, how can you understand how racism feels? You might not even believe it exists. How does it feel to hear about a nationwide movement to help black people when you're a white person who's poor or who works your butt off every day and still can barely get by, or for any other reason has had a tough life? You don't see the racial inequity, but you see your own struggle, and you wonder why nobody's protesting your cause. I think white people who distrust the Black Lives Matter movement find it hard to believe what they haven't seen firsthand. I know people are afraid to change, too. And if you've lived in New Hampshire your whole life and you like it here, you may not want things to change. And it's not easy to change. So what we're asking our opponents to do is to invite strangers into their circle of compassion. And that's going to bring up their defense system again. How can someone even begin to listen and be open-minded when they feel threatened, especially if they're backed up by their culture, which is all around them and portrayed as good and just? There's nothing in their experience to suggest that this movement for Black lives is important. Instead, they're seeing it as a threat to their own way of life. Despite that, I believe we have it in our hearts to show compassion for people who stand against us. And I really believe they have it in them to have compassion for black people too. I think it will help for us to recognize our opponents' own struggles, and that keeps them open to us. Then maybe we can help them recognize that no matter how hard their life is, it would be even harder if they were judged by the color of their skin. I talked with my father about Black Lives Matter recently. He grew up in New Hampshire. He was very, very poor, and he's worked his entire 76 years of life, and he's still working now. I thought he was really against Black Lives Matter because he does make racist comments. But what came out of our discussion was that he really thought that the plight of being black in America was really just about being poor and being in America. He said, quote, "What's the big deal everybody's making about black people's problems? What about all the poor white people? Don't they deserve help too?" So we had a long, hard discussion. He didn't know that if you compare two men who are the same in every way except race, if you if you control for their education and their income and their health, he didn't know that the black man is going to live a shorter life and will be more likely to go to jail than the white man. When everything else is held equal, the black person's going to have it harder. If I had just told my dad that he was an ignorant old white man, our conversation probably wouldn't have happened. Giving people a chance to voice their own struggles helps keep the conversation going. Don't say, but black lives are harder. Instead, say, poor white folks have it hard, and poor black folks have it hard too. And every black person has struggles regardless of their income because they're black. Then the conversation can keep going. My dad is actually considering donating money to a black social justice organization now, and I think that's progress. So here's my personal strategy going forward in these conversations. If I'm talking to someone who disagrees with my views, I won't say yes, but I'll say yes, and. Like, black people's lives matter, and so does yours. Or, people who work as police officers matter a lot, and so do black people. Adding the and statement gives me an opening for more conversation. It recognizes the other side and keeps us both in a calmer state. If we're arguing, we're in an adrenaline-filled fight-or-flight state, and you can't listen when you're in that state. You definitely can't learn when you're in that state. All you can do is attack, or defend, or run away. Cold and dark. I'm supposed to skip some stuff. None of us can give up on this. It's way too important, but it's not going to be easy. We need to talk to each other about what we really value in life and what's at the heart of our positions. These conversations are hard and they're uncomfortable. So first, I suggest you talk to someone who agrees with you. Even that conversation is going to be hard if you honestly examine yourself and your beliefs. Then maybe you can find someone you love and trust who disagrees with you. I suggest you set aside a specific time to talk. You can't blindside somebody with this hard talk or they're just going to get defensive. Then just ask them what they truly believe. Just ask and listen. Don't debate. Just put aside the politics and the news stories and ask them what they really value in life. Here's what I think will come out. Honesty, trust, compassion, things that are valued by all of humanity. There are 3 things we can do to make sure to make sure that our community reflects those core beliefs and to help us come closer together. First, we can talk to each other, start with what you value most, things which most people can agree on, and work up from there to find where your ideas really diverge. Use the word and be inclusive. Recognize where someone else is coming from, stay calm, and listen. You'll be surprised how far you can get. Next, we can support people who organize events like this, events and groups that bring people together in real life for meaningful interactions. We can't make progress on difficult issues like this over social media. Lastly, we can elect state officials who reflect our values of honesty, trust, compassion, and broad-mindedness. So I ask you, please, if you weren't going to already, please vote in our upcoming election. We're a small town. Your local vote does make a difference. Research your options and vote for people who represent you not just by being part of a particular political party, but by being good, honest, compassionate, and willing to listen to all constituents. We can do this. We're the people of the town of Deerfield, for the most part. We're part of the great state of New Hampshire and the awesome country of the United States of America, and I can only continue to say that if there's liberty and justice for all of us.